Hey guys, all right, we are going to really quickly talk about writing your conclusion or ending today for your civil rights research reports. We are almost done. We just have a few steps left to finish. So I am going to talk to you about what to include today. If we look at this assignment, first of all, um, it will be in your Civil Rights Research Report module, conclusion, ending. So this is the last piece of writing. Tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more about some extra text features you might want to include. But this is going to be the ending or conclusion of your research report. So if you take a look at the assignment, you're going to continue writing in your Google Slides. You might need to add a tab for your civil rights for the conclusion. But I want you to make sure that you include some sort of transition again into this last paragraph, and then think about the social impact of the civil rights leader. Why was this person important? How does it relate to today? Those are a couple of questions for you to answer. Make sure it is at least one complete paragraph, 5 sentences, and that you're using your own words again. You might want to consider adding a quotation, something from something that people have said about your leader in your ending. That might be a great way to wrap things up. So if we take a look, I have one slide here at the end for my conclusion. And I started with a transition. In the end, the brave actions of Ruby Bridges and her family made a big impact in society. Schools across the country became desegregated, which led to more desegregation in communities. At school, children of all races could learn to get along, become friends, and treat each other better. So here I'm talking about kind of some of the big picture things that happened. Of course, this wasn't just as a result of what Ruby Bridges did, but she was part of the entire civil rights movement. Of course, there are still a lot of problems with racism even today. So I did want to include a little bit more about how it relates to things now. Many cities and neighborhoods, even though not segregated by law, are still very segregated. There are Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, and other sections of cities that don't always get along. Thankfully, people like Ruby Bridges and her foundation are still fighting for a better life for all people. So I really focused in my conclusion on kind of the big picture ideas of how this civil rights leader made an impact and how it relates to things happening even today. If we look at the rubric for endings, and you will be assessed on your ending as well as organization. These are what things that we want to think about for fifth graders. And I'm going to expand this a little bit. So the writer wrote a conclusion in which he restated the main points and may have offered a final thought or question for readers to consider. Or even more, thinking about the writer wrote a conclusion in which he restated her important ideas, offered a final insight or implication for readers to consider. So in your ending, you might also want to think about what should the reader do next. Maybe give them some advice for what they could do as a response to reading your research report.